if they're ready. The Meowscarada is also one of the newest Pokemon from Scarlet and Violet, the newest main series game released for Nintendo Switch. Here we are in our band phase. Let's see where everybody's leaning. What's everybody thinking? Mine looks like they're leaning towards a Mew ban, and it looks like a Mimikyu ban on MWO's side. Seems to be this is what we're gonna lock in. Alright. It's unanimous. No Mimikyu and no Mew. Mimikyu has been a menace online and in tournaments lately. Anybody who's come across it probably vouch for that. Looks like the first pick on MWO side is going to be Dragapult. Sort of a glass cannon Pokemon, but capable of putting out immense amounts of damage. We see on Divine's side the first picks are going to be Trevenant and Venusaur. Great defender in Trevenant. Looks like MWO is about to lock in Hoopa and Buzzwole. Solid support in Hoopa. Solid support in Hoopa there, getting their teammates across from one end of the map to the other. Great all-arounder in Buzzwole. Divine picking Scissor as their all-arounder, but it's also possible we could see that stay as a Scyther. Both are solid picks, and a great supporter choice in Clefable. Immense amount of healing possibility. Are we going to see my boy Cinderace make an appearance? No, unfortunately, they are switching off. Looks like MWO picked up Umbreon for their defender and Alolan Ninetales. The last choice over on Divine side is going to be Glaceon. Great burst damage. Are we going to see some switching? We're seeing a little bit of switching up. Looks like two very solid teams. A lot of interesting picks here. Of course, with the buffs and nerfs that we saw recently, the meta has changed a little bit. Interesting to see what's going to happen this next season. We have some ribbons on these teams here. See two green ribbons up here on Buzzwole and Alolan Ninetales for Team MWO. Looked like a blue ribbon on Scissor, I believe. So here we are on MWO's side. They are the violet side. My POV. Dragapult is going to take that center. See Buzzwole go top. Hoopa with the XP share going center to kind of help soften up those blows for Dreepy. Scyther getting in a quick stack. And it looks like Venusaur on Divine is going to be their jungler. We have the Scyther Clefairy on the top lane going up against the Buzzwole Hoopa. Are they going to evolve or are they going to stay Scyther? That's going to be the question here. We have a 3v2 on top lane here, and Ivysaur coming up to help that top lane battle. Make sure that they don't push too far. Setting up for the ambush. They are going to push for those birds, of course, and it looks like Venusaur picked up the majority of the kills on those birds. You can see the value there in Hoopa's teleportation, being able to go back to base and heal. Ivysaur heading back through the jungle to pick up some more XP and buffs. check out the bottom lane. Bottom lane, we're seeing Glaceon with Phantom. Phantom not yet evolved into Trevenant, but very close. Glaceon already level 5. And Umbreon and Alola Ninetales from... Ooh, and Glaceon goes down and Phantom goes down. Oh, that's so bad. That's just open season on that bottom goal. That Alola Ninetales getting a nice level boost to 7. Buffing up that damage. That is a hard team. That is a hard duo to compete with. See their Glaceon's burst damage is pretty gnarly. And again, the value in Hoopa being able to just transport its teammates back to base for a very quick full heal. It looks like Divine is trying to make a push on the MWO, but they are just getting bullied and beaten up pretty bad on that bottom lane. Scyther did go for the evolution into Scissor and is trying to hold Buzzwole off on the top lane. Fable is trying to keep the heals, keep the teammates going and healthy. Venusaur coming back down to assist this bottom lane. We're 2 seconds away from that bottom Reggie. It's a Regice festive. And it looks like Divine is making a push on the bottom lane, putting some pressure on them so that Venusaur and Glaceon can try to get in there and rip this Regice and get some valuable experience. It is quite a heated battle down here for this Regice, and it looks like they said the right team here, so it looks like that did go to Team Divine. Did pick that Regice up and got several wipes in that process, several KOs in that process. And they managed to make large amounts of dunks on that bottom goal and break it. We see the Hoopa using its teleportation. Well, not teleportation, it's, what would you call it? I don't even remember the name of the move now. I'll have to pick that one back up and put it in the memory bank. Using that to get its teammates from the bottom up to the top to fight over this top Regieleki, and that does go to Team MWO. They do manage to secure the Regieleki, make a push on that top goal. It's a very strong push. We got all 5 of them there. Regieleki goes in and they do manage to break that top goal. Venusaur comes in with the Unite move, dropping some immense heavy damage and taking immense heavy damage of itself. But it was enough to push back MWO and allow Venusaur and Glaceon to get away. MWO retreating back to their pad to heal. We see Dragapult and Umbreon going back to center, picking up some more buffs and some more XP for them. Umbreon also running XP shares, such an invaluable tool on the right supporting Pokemon. Seeing it on both Umbreon and Hoopa for Team MWO. Does not look like they were fooled by Trevenant being in the bushes there. We are setting up for bottom Reggie number 2. We are less than 6 seconds away from that respawning. And it looks like nearly everybody from Divine has gathered. And it looks like we do have all of MWO here as well. Going into a big team fight here. Umbreon goes down. That is a key defender going down. Hoopa drops the Unite move, calling its compadres to the fight, but it is just not enough. He is surrounded. Burst damage. Oh, but Alola Ninetales appears and responds with burst damage of its own, taking down Clefable and Venusaur. You see Trevenant trying to hold the team off, trying to push them off of that Registeel. It is a very, very valuable buff if the team, for whichever team can secure it. Trevenant trying to hold its own, but unfortunately goes down. It cannot handle the amount of burst damage that we see from Ninetales and the strong defense provided by Umbreon. Umbreon, unfortunately, is right there in the front lane, and it does go down to that damage from Glaceon. The range on Glaceon's icicles is just too much for Umbreon. It could not get away, and they managed to... You You see Divine managed to come back, respawn, and just come back and take over that Registeel before Divine could regroup. Divine instead deciding to regroup at the top and push for that Regieleki, which they did secure, only to just leave it so that they could set up or steal the center birds. They're just repositioning themselves while Divine works, tries to knock down this Regieleki before it can hit their little pad. They do manage to take it down. Without MWO being around to push, it was pretty easy pickings for them. Venusaur with the snipe, a nice 3 KO. And again on the Hoopa. That Venusaur Solar Blade is just a cannon. Let's take a look at our level spread here. We see Venusaur sitting pretty comfortably at level 13. Matched up pretty nicely with the Dragapult, also at level 13. The junglers are pretty even. Venusaur just now hitting 14. Level spread is fairly even right now. Everybody is just kind of wandering around the map, looking for some good farm, getting in that last little bit of XP, trying to get some levels and some valuable buffs and experience as the Rayquaza spawns. First ones in, of course, are MWO's Defender Umbreon, and we also see Hoopa coming in. Is Hoopa going to be ready with its Unite move is the question. Let's check in on it. And here comes the team fight. Looks like Divines and Hoopa does come in with the Unite move. They put a lot of pressure on that Trevenant, but he is just healing and soaking up tons of damage. We see Umbreon trying to soak up a ton of damage. Fable keeping the heals going, keeping that Venusaur very healthy while he just shoots off these amazing cannons of a solar beam, taking down 3 of MWO to beat Divine's Venusaur. And Clefable and Venusaur are very quick, making very quick work of this Rayquaza. Will Divine be able, or MWO will they be able to get in here before? No, they do not, unfortunately. That is a clean rip for Divine on the Rayquaza. Venusaur running to make a huge overdunk on that top. Venusaur get disconnected? No, he decided to turn back around. Okay, that was a little scary for Venusaur there. See a little bit of a defender brawl going on in the bottom lane here between Umbreon and Trevenant. It's always amusing to me to see defenders going at it, because some defenders just have a little bit more utility and a little bit more multi-purpose, while some of them are just more disruptive, like Trevenant here. You can see Trevenant showing how disruptive it can be, turning around, using its Unite move on Ninetales, and just doing an immense amount of damage for a defender, while also healing and just absorbing all of this damage. I cannot wait to see what these numbers look like at the end here. Unfortunately, just not enough for see what the numbers look like. Pretty clean win there for Divine. Once they secured that Ray, it was just drop city. It was very unfortunate that both teams put up a great fight. Let's take a look at some of these numbers here. Of course, Venusaur earning the MVP with 10 KOs and 7 assists. That Solar Beam was just a wicked... I don't even want to call it a sniper rifle, because, I mean, he was just shooting off a heavy laser cannon there, it seemed. We see we see some good kills over here. Even Trevenant got 6 kills, 4 assists, and 6 kills, 3 assists for Glaceon. And then on MWO's side, Umbreon earning the MVP with 3 kills, 9 assists. Umbreon was constantly in the thick of battle. We also saw Alolan Ninetales doing its fair share of work with 4 KOs and 8 assists. Let's take a look at how the numbers stack up. Let's check out this. 80,000 damage from the Alolan Ninetales and 106,000 damage from Venusaur. Venusaur was really just putting in a long, hard day's work there with those solar beams. And we see 78,000 2k heals from the Clefable, definitely doing its job on the heals. 79,000 damage tanked by this Trevenant while also healing 48,000 on its end. And the Hoopa on the opposing team doing very strong work with 55,000 in damage taken and 15,000 in recovery. Umbreon doing 20,000 in recovery. So let's take a look. We'll go ahead and skip ahead now. We'll get to the next game, where we now see Divine is up by 1 game. MWO putting up a very strong fight. Both teams were really, really good there. Honestly, it was so back and forth. I would have never known which team would come out ahead there. Heading into draft, we're going to go into the ban phase first of all, of course. See what everybody decides for ban. I would not be surprised to see a Venusaur ban, honestly. Now it looks like we are leaning towards the Mew and Dragapult still. Dragapult being new over the Mimikyu, so maybe somebody will pick that up. We see Divine pick up the Venusaur. MWO, are they going to pick up the Trevenant? Trevenant and Hoopa. Solid choices once again. Excellent defender in Trevenant. Excellent supporter in Hoopa. Very valuable as we saw in the last match. Divine, looks like they're leaning towards picking up this Clefable and possibly Slowbro. Or possibly Lapras. Which defender is it going to be? It's going to be Lapras! Either one of those is a solid choice in defenders. Lapras, of course, being able to dish out some damage. Fable obviously able to heal multiple teammates. We're seeing a second defender pick up in Blastoise and a Pikachu. Oh, I'm interested to see how this Pikachu is going to build. Divine picking up the Umbreon for a second defender. I love seeing these double defender metas. I really do. And the Buzzwole. The final pick on MWO side is going to be Dragonite, so we've seen a lot of changes here in the lineup. Let's see the new strategy that's going to go with it. Teams are making their final preparations. If anybody's going to switch their Pokemon around, this is the time. Two solid teams once again. Let's see if MWO can make a comeback and take this to 1-1 and go to game 3. Or will Divine take a clean 2-0? I love seeing some of these holowares. These are great holowares. I love the Boxer Dragonite there. Just makes me think of Rocky. The Hip Hop Hoopa. Another pretty cute one in my opinion. Matches well with the Hip Hop Pikachu. Alright, and we are seeing Divine on the Violet side. We are seeing a double defender bottom lane with Lapras and Umbreon. Clefable and Buzzwole going top, and once again we are going to see Venusaur take jungle. On the opposing team, MWO is taking their Dragonite jungle. Hoopa coming through the jungle to help Dragonite clean up a little faster and get a little boost in XP. Squirtle and Clefable taking the top lane. Will of course leave Trevenant and Pikachu on bottom lane. We see our first score. Squirtle making a drop on that top lane. Lapras is trying to make an advance with its Whirlpool, dealing area damage. Pikachu and Phantom managed to hold them back. We do see Divine's jungler Venusaur come down to the bottom lane for that assist. Looks like Clefairy went down in the top lane, but Buzzwole is trying to hold 1v3, and here we go, we see a 2v2 on the birds. Venusaur is carrying a lot of points there, would love to get some drops. Umbreon does get evolved and comes in for the defense. Lapras taking the berry for some heals. Venusaur going back to jungle. Doesn't look like there's going to be a solid push at this point now that the birds have been cleared off. Both teams just kind of pushing back and forth on each other in this bottom lane. Let's check in on the top lane. Unfortunately, it looks like Divine is just a little bit behind on this top lane. Clefairy just getting evolved into Clefable. And just now getting its level 5. Buzzwole getting level 6. It looks like these teams are heading down to the center for the birds at the 8-minute mark. Looks like Divine is hitting a good majority of those birds. Buzzwole trying its hardest to get in there and get some XP, but unfortunately Buzzwole can just not 1v5, and it goes down in a massacre from Team MWO. The team rotating together towards that top goal, pushing off the Clefable and making several drops, breaking the top pad. Look at all 5 of them move together. They are like a tidal wave, and they are heading back to their pad now for heals. Are they going to set up for this top Regieleki? No, Hoopa is going to open its portal and move everybody, the entire team, down to the bottom lane to set up with 20 seconds to spare, cleaning up on those bottom lane birds, taking down that poor Lapras, taking down Umbreon, just picking off Divine. MWO is here to make a comeback. They are being super aggressive, moving together as one big unit. Just the Blastoise holding that top lane on its own against the Buzzwole and doing a phenomenal job at it. Hoopa decides to open up that portal, and Blastoise makes its arrival on the bottom lane, showing up with that water spout, doing damage, absorbing damage, pushing the Umbreon off of the bottom pad. MWO making big drops on that bottom pad. Buzzwole does secure the top Regieleki, completely uncontested, but MWO is moving as a unit. We see almost all of them moving together here, heading to the top lane. Regieleki did hit that top pad since no one was there to defend, but there was just not enough of Divine's team up there to break that pad and get scores in. MWO is still holding all of their cards right now, and they are making a solid push in the center here, catching Umbreon off guard and taking it down. Pikachu managing to get away. That eject button is so vital in moments like that, just to put some distance between you and your opponents. We see Hoopa reopening its portal, just allowing its teammates to reposition. Such a useful supporter. Dragonite and Blastoise joining Pikachu in this top lane. And sneaking up on the Buzzwole and Clefable. They were not even expecting it. They were just so well hidden in the bushes there. Lapras launched. It looks like Lapras launched off its Unite move to get away, and decides to take a nice crash into the Dragonite. Venusaur picking Dragonite off with its Solar Beam from a safe distance. People reopening that portal. The team is obviously repositioning as we are 15 seconds away from that bottom Regieleki respawning, while we see Divine just running through jungle, trying to pick up as much XP as it can. The levels are fairly even here between these two teams. Nobody's got a clear advantage over the other than MWO just being very clear. Oh, and we see the Unite move from Venusaur go off, and it does massive burst damage. Lots of MWO is going down. Divine is making a solid push on this bottom goal. MWO manages to hold with their Dragonite and their Trevenant, and they decide to go. Dragonite's going in on that Regirock. Umbreon is going to try and sneak in and get the steal. Is he going to get it? He does not. Dragonite secures the Regirock for MWO, and Umbreon unfortunately goes down. It just leaves Trevenant trapped there for a moment in its mean look. And Hoopa setting up its portal for repositioning, and MWO secures the Regieleki as well! Divine trying very hard to secure some objectives, and just, they got the one Regieleki, the first one that spawned, but it looks like Divine's not, or MWO is not pushing this Regieleki, they just backed off, so it should be pretty easy for Divine to take it down. That'll give them some XP they could use off of that KO there. They're just running through jungle, picking up XP wherever they can, getting farm where they can, trying to get their levels up. Again, the level spread is not that great. We see more level 12s on Divine's side, only one level 13 on MWO, and that's the Dragonite. Venusaur looks like he's just looking for some XP as the birds spawn. He manages to get off a Solar Beam, get some XP off of that. He's just kind of waiting and hiding. Oh no! The Lapras gets ambushed! MWO comes in from all sides, but Lapras does manage to get away. Do love seeing these double defenders together. Amazing what two defenders can do together. The XP share on the Umbreon and the Clefable. Buzzwole heading down, Venusaur heading down, Lapras just looking for some XP, just trying to get some levels here as the team fight opens up on the bottom lane. Has the Regi spawns, it looks like MWO is taking some heavy damage. Clefable trying to keep the heals. Dragonite goes down. Hoopa launches its Unite move to call its teammates in and deal some massive damage. Hoopa goes down just as the Rayquaza spawns. MWO is pushed back just as the Rayquaza spawns. And Divine is going in heavy on this Rayquaza right now. They are giving it everything they have, trying to rip it as quick as they possibly can before MWO can respawn. Blastoise runs in and manages to steal the Rayquaza! MWO secures that Rayquaza right out from under Divine. Trevenant is trying so hard to hold them off while the rest of the team goes and scores. Hundo Burger's just dropping left and right. And we see the surrender from Divine. MWO takes the victory. Look at these numbers. 10 KOs and 5 assists for this Dragonite. The Blastoise getting MVP, very well deserved in my opinion, securing that Ray at the last moment. MWO just bullied Divine for the majority of that game, just moving, for the most part, moving as a unit. You would see all 5 of them move as a squad all together from one goal to the next. That Hoopa was so crucial in using its portals to move them from the top of the map to the bottom and back, getting them where they needed to be, repositioning them. Trevenant just being a nuisance like it's very good at doing, and Dragonite dishing out large amounts of damage. Unfortunately, the Venusaur just could not. I mean, it was great. The Solar Beams were great again, but it just could not keep up with the amount of damage and the amount, just too much coming from MWO there. Let's take a look at the break. Alright, we're going into the ban phase. Let's see what gets banned this time around. Are we going to stick with the Mew? And we're gonna see a unanimous Dragapult ban, so nobody gets to use Dragapult. MWO, or are they going to lock in the Venusaur? That's where they're leaning. Looks like we're going for the Trevenant now that Mew has been unbanned. Mew got banned 2 games in a row, and it looks like Divine is going to pick up Mew. Eager to see why Mew was so aggressively banned those first 2 games. Perhaps Divine is just a menace with this Mew, and we're gonna find out why. MWO picking up Umbreon and Hoopa. We may never see Hoopa not get picked by someone. It's just so valuable, and now we are seeing Mimikyu make an appearance. Mimikyu is just a menace if you're on the ranked ladder. And the Clefable to keep the heals alive. That Trevenant will just never go down with Clefable keeping it going. Blastoise and Dragonite getting picked up by MWO. The last pick on Divine is looking like it's going to be Glaceon. Making their final preparations as we head into Game 3. The team is going to make their swaps. 2 very interesting team compilations. We're seeing Mew and Mimikyu for the first time make an appearance tonight. Realize I was on mute and I was just talking to myself. Alright, here we go. Heading into the 3rd and final game. Both teams 1-1. Who's going to take this final game? This is interesting to see both Dragonite and Venusaur on MWO. Dragonite's going to take jungle. Venusaur is going to take bottom lane. With the Umbreon. Umbreon having XP share on should help that Bulbasaur get into Venusaur a little bit quicker. Not quite as quick as if it was taking jungle, but still better than if it was without it. And we see Mew. We could jump over here and check out the Mew on Divine. While Phantom sneaks in and takes a couple of drops, trying to get it stacked, and I really do need to pay more attention to the held items of these teams so I can see who's holding on to stacking items. Phantom trying to just get that last little bit of experience and get into its Trevenant. Not quite there, getting out just with enough HP left. Luckily Mew has that shield and puts a lot of pressure. Check in on the top lane, we see the Mimikyu and Glaceon trying to get that last little bit of XP to get into Glaceon. It's still Eevee right now, while Clefairy, we're still seeing Clefairy. It's not into Clefable yet. A lot of pressure 3v3 up here. Clefairy goes down, did not get evolved. Just a ton of pressure between the damage from the push damage there. Oh no, lost it for a second. The push damage there from the Dragonite and the War Turtle was just too much for that top lane. They got pushed back. MWO putting a lot of pressure. We do see Clefairy finally get into Clefable, but Glaceon is struggling to just get that last little bit of XP to get into its final. And there it goes. It's finally evolved into Glaceon. Now we can start hopefully see it start racking up some kills here. It does look like MWO is making an effort to be aggressive again and putting a lot of pressure on Divine. But it also does look like both teams are still being a bit more cautious this time around. Fable going down again, Mimikyu getting out just barely. Trevenant manages to get away. Ivysaur is super close to getting into Venusaur, considering it did not get to run through jungle. You see that level, and there's the evolution. We are into Venusaur now, so we're seeing Venusaur, Dragonite, and Umbreon make a solid push on this bottom lane here. Just a little over 10 seconds away from that bottom Reggie spawning. Well, both Reggie spawning. This is the first Reggie spawn. We're seeing Blastoise and Glaceon just kind of back and forth on that top lane. Blastoise just kind of holding. Hoopa opens the portal, brings Blastoise down. Trevenant just being a nuisance, trying to push Divine off of the Registeel. Both teams are in on the Registeel. We see double Solar Beams fire off, and it looks like MWO secured that Registeel. Venusaur's Solar Beam coming out ahead of Mew's Solar Beam on that secure. Both team, Hoopa setting up its teleportation again, opening a portal to the top, and we see another secure on that top Regieleki. Blastoise is just being a menace there with its Rapid Spin and Water Spout. The Blastoise Unite move goes off. They are pushing Divine around, breaking that top lane and retreating instead of deciding to push any further. Both teams are still being pretty cautious. Both are aware this is the third match, and this is the deciding game right here. Mimikyu sneaking around in the jungle there does manage to take down the Dragonite. We're seeing the Mimikyu versus the Hoopa. Mimikyu is doing some big damage there to Hoopa, but Blastoise and Venusaur come in to try to back it up. It's a little too late. Hoopa goes down, but is Mimikyu going to get away? He does not. He cannot escape that deadly Venusaur Solar Beam. It's just too much. It's too much range, too much damage. Venusaur just cleaning up Secures left and right. We're seeing another little bit of a team fight going on in the bottom lane here. We're still 30 seconds out from that bottom Reggie respawning, but the teams are pushing each other back and forth, just looking for weaknesses in each other's composition here. We have a little bit of a 4v4 while Mimikyu is up here just trying to get some XP. Umbreon has joined its teammates on the bottom lane, so we are seeing 5v4. All 5 of MWO is here, set up and ready for this match as the bottom Registeel spawns. MWO making a solid push against Divine. Divine just getting stun locked, unfortunately, and everybody— oh my goodness, that is almost a total team wipe. Mimikyu was the only one to survive because it wasn't quite there yet. And it looks like MWO is going to clean up this Registeel completely uncontested, just as the top Regieleki spawns. And Hoopa opens its portal, transporting its teammates to the top. Unfortunately, Divine had not quite yet fully respawned and set up. Regieleki secured by MWO. Mimikyu just trying to get away. It tried to sneak in to steal that secure. Did not succeed, unfortunately, but MWO did decide to back off of the Regieleki and not push with it, so we are seeing Divine easily clean up this Regieleki. It will give them some much needed XP. They are a little bit behind on levels, not terrible. The level spread is still fairly even right now. Divine just trying to get as much XP as it can wherever it can. They're just all over this map here looking for any amount of feeding that they can get, just looking for some farm. Blastoise just kind of hanging out in the jungle up here in the little weeds. You can't see me. You can't see this big turtle. And opening the portal. We are bringing Blastoise down. We have a team fight here. We see the Mew Solar Beam go off. It doesn't quite take anybody down. Mew's just firing off Solar Beams, putting on a lot of pressure. We see how valuable Solar Beam is, whether it's from Mew or Venusaur. And it looks like Divine does manage to break that bottom goal and push MWO back. We are still 30 seconds out from that bottom Reggie respawning. with plenty of time left on the clock before the Ray. Almost a solid minute before the Ray spawn. There is plenty of time for one of those teams to secure this bottom objective. Not quite enough time for that top Regieleki. Maybe about 10 seconds. It would depend if the entire team is up there. We're just seeing everybody on MWO is just fully stacked, holding on to these 50s. They do surround... Oh, MWO comes in and surrounds the Mimikyu. Mimikyu goes down. MWO deciding to set up for the top Regieleki instead, it seems, instead of going for that bottom. What was it? It was a Regice. That was probably a smart choice in going for this Regieleki to put some pressure on Divine, cleaning it up with 4 seconds to spare before the Rayquaza spawn. Rayquaza is up. We are seeing Divine move in from the top lane. MWO is set up around on the left side. Just kind of poking at that Ray, just teasing Divine a little bit, trying to lure them out or reveal their hiding spots, trying to get Rayquaza to attack them and show their locations, reveal their positions. Both teams are just being really cautious here. Divine decided to just let the Regieleki hit and back off of it. They decided not to try to stop it. It worked out in their favor. It only dropped 20 points. MWO did not get any other drops on that top lane. It didn't break either. So it's still either team's game, and Hoopa coming in with the Unite move, bringing the team in, making a strong attack. We're seeing Unite moves pop off left and right here. It's anybody's match. We're seeing everybody go down. No, Divine goes down. It's a total wipe on Divine's side, unfortunately. MWO just put way too much pressure on them. Rayquaza is just gonna go down. Oh. First one respawning is Clefable. They're going to try to hold off. They only have 2 locations to defend. Glaceon does not make the jump in time. Clefable unfortunately cannot do enough damage to stop Venusaur from making that drop. That's double hundo burgers and a third from Umbreon on Divine's home pad. Umbreon just kind of toying with Divine now, it looks like, just keeping them distracted on their home pad while all of them were on it, taking Umbreon down. Looks like Mimikyu is going to try and sneak in on this top lane here. Is it a distraction? Is he going to try to score? What is the outcome here from Mimikyu? We see Mimikyu and Trevenant trying to come in here. I don't know if they're just trying to sneak in some scores or just buff their stats. Unfortunately, it does look like that game is going to be a pretty clean win for MWO. Divine just not able to hold up to the massive amount of power that we saw MWO throwing at them. Let's take a look at our stats here. Look at this Hoopa. I don't know how this Hoopa hasn't gotten MVP. Just back and forth, constant repositioning of its teammates, getting everybody where they needed to be with 13 assists. Hoopa was always exactly where it needed to be. But of course, we see Venusaur come ahead again with MVP, making 6 kills, 9 assists, and 6 kills, 11 assists from this Blastoise. Blastoise really putting in just a ton of work. This just combined raw power between Dragonite, Blastoise, and Venusaur. It was just no match for Divine, unfortunately. The stuns from Umbreon and the repositioning power of Hoopa. Hoopa is a very technical Pokemon, not just anybody can pick it up and use it, but those who have and have mastered it are showing their worth out here on the battlefield. On the side of Divine, we see Mimikyu with 5 kills, 1 assist. Mimikyu just seemed to be the one that was out there picking off those occasionally from MWO who would be out of position. We see the 4 assists from Glaceon, 5 assists from Trevenant. Let's take a look at the numbers breakdown. We're seeing a 74,000 heal from the Clefable. That is a great amount of healing, really. It just could not keep up. I mean, that just goes to show how much damage MWO was dealing out, that Clefable is out here healing 74,000 and Trevenant is out here tanking 100,000. So let's take a look at the 95,000 damage we're seeing from this Venusaur, and Blastoise putting out 52,000 of its own. Everybody did so great. It really was anybody's match on that last point. There was just too much. I think there was just too much stun coming from the side of MWO. It just slowed down Divine a little too much, and they were